Back in 1973, the BRDC hosted a non-championship event between the rounds of the F1 season. The race was legendary, as Ronnie Peterson lost it with 18 laps remaining due to snowstorm, losing out to Sir Jackie Stewart by 10 seconds. Can we do what the Superswede couldn't? Can we catch up to the Flying Scotsman before the end of the race?
Peterson off! Ronnie Peterson off the circuit, and you can see the reason, because Ronnie Peterson is now in a snowstorm, and what a brilliant shot! Ronnie Peterson off the circuit.
Well, here we are facing backwards at Cops, because we are doing the Ronnie Peterson challenge. Get the revs going as we get ourselves back onto track, and back in 1973 for the International Trophy, which was a non-championship event that was hosted by the BRDC, because there was a bit of a gap between the South African Grand Prix and the Spanish Grand Prix. So they decided to fill it with two races. One was the Race of Champions at Brands Hatch and the International Trophy here at Silverstone, where we find ourselves in a bit of a snowstorm, as Ronnie Peterson did. It was quite an exciting race, sort of a grand old battle between the Flying Scotsman of Sir Jackie Stewart and the Superswede of Ronnie Peterson. Ronnie did eventually take the lead up until about 18 laps before the end of the race, where he did run into a snowstorm and spun, and that's where you get this incredible picture of him doing a burnout as he gets back on track during the snow. So now our challenge, if we choose to accept it, which we do, is can we catch back up to Sir Jackie Stewart? During the real race, Ronnie could only manage to be within 10.4 seconds of him at the finish in 18 laps. So we're going ourselves 18 laps, and we shall see as we get a bit sideways, as the track is still quite slick, and again it is a very cold day as it was during that event. Can we catch up to Jackie and be within the 10.4 seconds or closer? Now we do have quite a few cars to get through, as we are over halfway through the race distance, so all the cars are quite spread out, and it's not just F1 cars, because this is a non-championship event. They combined it with the Formula 5000 cars, which weren't as fast, but they're certainly faster than me now, as I went a bit too deep and I'm all over the dirt. Of course, I've got a lot of ground to catch up, so I can't really afford to make many mistakes. And so this, as we've got a big old pile up there, which is not uncommon, I think, for this year. I think actually at the British Grand Prix at Silverstone there was a big crash at the start, so at least that saved us a couple of places. But yeah, the 73 championship was really a title fight between Team Lotus, which is Emerson Fittipaldi and Ronnie Peterson, and then it was Sir Jackie Stewart in his Tyrrell fighting on his own. And Ronnie didn't really have a good start to his 73 season. He retired from the first two races, which was Argentina and Brazil, and only managed 11th at the South African Grand Prix, which is the complete opposite to his teammate Fittipaldi, which he got 2 first places and a third in 3 races, whereas Jackie did got a third, a second and a first. So that really set the tone for the season. So really for Peterson, this was sort of regain some confidence for the season, even though this was a non-championship event. You know, it's everything counts, and especially if the British Grand Prix, I mean, it was quite a few races away, which he did actually get second place in, so obviously it paid off. What as we, again, if we keep hitting the mud, I don't think we're going to last very long, as the track is still So it's not a dry line, but it's still very slippery offline, and it was, it was a very cold weekend anyway, so it was no surprise to get a flurry of snow in April, as it seems to be these days. I mean, I remember being at Spa back in 2019. We had a flurry of snow in, was that May? It might have been end of April, start of May. So it does happen. It still happens. So yeah, so Peterson at the start of his 73 campaign really wasn't. I think out of the first 5 races, he had 4 retirements. But when he did get going, he started getting podiums, and I think by the end of the season, he was only a couple of points behind his teammate. So Lotus being certainly one of the faster, if not fastest car, but perhaps not so much the most reliable. Even in this race, Fittipaldi actually, before the race even, well, actually on the start, he had a clutch failure, so he didn't even take part, although I've allowed him to take part because sim racing. Whereas Sir Jackie was always incredibly smooth and precise, and he was just way more consistent. They ended up winning by quite a few points at the end of the 73 season. But during this race, though, it was Peterson now leading for the first 2 laps, and then Sir Jackie overtook him after the 2nd lap, and then I think a couple laps later he spun and dropped down to 6th, and then he clawed his way all the way back up to 1st. So only because Peterson spun on with 18 laps to go due to that freak snowstorm. So we can see the snow has stopped now. There's still a lot of moisture in the air. And so this version of Silverstone is such a fast circuit, and these cars are really suited to it, even though it is, as I've set the temperature nice and low. The tyres do stay reasonably warm. You do have to work them. As I'm trying to get every inch of the corner precise and just keep my speed up, because I do have quite a lot of time to gain on him. So we'll see. That's not going to help. Oh, that's so dangerous, because I say that will send me off and launch me off that Daily Mail bridge. Yeah, I guess this is as good as time. I need to go through the 73 edition of the circuit. So go through Cops, which is quite a wide corner, and then Maggots is nowhere near as tight as it is these days, and even Beckett's is a very long right-hander now. You get on the power quite early, and then through Chapel again it's a lot longer. Sort of that complex, they really shortened and tightened it compared to 73. And then down Hanger Straight and up to Stowe, we've got a few cars in front of us to tackle, but again it's nowhere near as tight as it is these days, and this unnamed straight is a lot straighter than it is now. We come up to Club, and this is where the current start finish straight would be, and instead of taking a left we would take a right. We go through Abbey. As we like I said, that's gonna end this race if I keep doing that. Right, Farm Straight, Woodcock, and then back over the start finish line. We're doing about 129s with traffic and mistakes. I really need to start doing 128s, because I have done several practices, believe it or not, because I keep making mistakes like that as the car locks up in front. and also hits the wall. There's bits everywhere and we get very sideways. And so there's only slowing me down. I can't afford really to be tangled up in this. I need to get past some of these cars. I think they are Brabhams up ahead. I'm not entirely up to scratch with my Formula 1 cars of the 73 season. That's a shadow, I know that. So that would have been either George Fulmer or Jackie Oliver. And I was having just a quick look at the sort of lineup for that year. I mean, obviously Lotus had a solid lineup with Peterson and Fittipaldi. McLaren had Peter, Revson and who's the other one? Can't think of that. Denny Hulme, wasn't it? But the BRM cars, they were fielding 3 cars. They had quite the lineup. They had Clay Regazzoni, Niki Lauda, and who's the third one? I mean, just those 2 alone is. And I think these are the Marlboro cars. The Marlboro branded cars. Which would have been Haldon Ganley. If these names are ringing any bells, not to me, but I say I've been a F1 fan for a long time, although perhaps not so recently, but we don't need to go into that. I'm very much into my endurance, but if you told me to drive the Formula 1 Lotus from 1973, I'm not going to say no and pretend to be Ronnie Peterson either. Oh, we've got a car off there. Again, I say these conditions are still very tricky. The track is still very, very greasy. We've just got to make our way through.
These cars are going through Woodcote faster than the Grand Prix cars which first raced here after the war did down the straight a lot faster. But Ronnie Peterson's out on his own and really flying. Braking from about 180 to 120. Go through the long right-hand at Stowe. I was saying he used to have the reputation of being a thought hairy, but there's nothing hairy about his approach to club here, which he goes through at about 115. Right-hander again, drifting, beautifully controlled all the way out. Now maximum acceleration to sweep through Abbey there at 140 plus. Speed still building up towards 180. And then the lift and the chop before sweeping through Woodcote at 150 plus. The long right-hander leading to the pit straight. There he goes. The lateral G on those huge tyres, something absolutely remarkable.
Could you imagine it now? Sort of the current F1 allowing for non-championship events? It just seems sort of so far-fetched. I mean, sort of, you can almost consider the sprint races to be, but I mean, obviously they're still counting points-wise. Go down the inside of the Surtees, I think these ones. Which Surtees would have been Mike Harewood and Carlos Pace. Certainly matching our straight line speed. We'll see if we can just tuck it down the inside here. Again, we've got another gaggle of cars up ahead. So it is still raining a bit. It might just be the spray. very tricky to go find. You've got a Formula, I say Formula 5000, the closest I could get to the F5000 for sort of the 73 era. Those are Formula Atlantic cars, so they're not a million miles off. Same era, same style of car, just sort of the American version of F5000. The Atlantics did race over here, so I think that's good enough for me. But yeah, imagining the current F1 drivers doing non-championship events, you know, I mean, not everyone turned up to this one. You know, it was mainly the British-based teams, so you had these are both McLaren, so yeah, so you had the two McLarens and their drivers, you had both Lotus, you had the Tyrrells, you had the BRMs, the Lolas. Obviously Ferrari didn't show up with their car. Brabham as well, they were here. March weren't here. Yeah, really, it was sort of just Friday that didn't turn up, looking at it. So, but yeah, and again, obviously going against a different class of car, still single, open-wheeled single-seaters, but, you know, be like F1 going up against, I don't know what the equivalent of a F5000 car is. Would that be F2? Going up against F2 cars on the same track? Because we've got one very close next to us as we obviously we are much faster. But I think during the race, I think the closest F5000 car was, I think, 15 seconds down the road. So they say they're not a million miles off, and you know, a lot of the guys, they only raced F5000 cars, and nationally. So you know, to be that far off, sort of the F1 guys. I mean, also, you know, it was great for the F5000 guys. You know, they had nothing to lose really. They could prove that they could be faster than some F1 drivers in cars that weren't as quick. You know, really make a name for themselves. But yeah, you just can't see it happening, can you? I don't know what, like I said, I don't know what the closest thing is. I mean, we have the race of champions, but that's various cars, teams of nationalities racing to compete against each other. I think that's a great idea. But yeah, I couldn't imagine the F1 teams now doing races that don't count towards anything. I mean, I guess at this point there's not really much time on the schedule either.
Fine opportunity to study Ronnie Peterson at close quarters. He had the reputation of being a bit hairy, but he's got some real flyers to get past if he's going to start closing up the lap, which he has done. Now, Ronnie Peterson's coming down to lap Mike Bertler here. Mike Bertler with the Stock Exchange Special, March 731. A whole lap behind James Hunt with a similar car.
Oh, as we, again, a bit offline and we catch the drift nicely. I mean, if you look to some of the old footage of the cars racing, they are, I'll say, dancing through these corners a lot of the time. So really, I'm being fairly tame, even though I'm constantly going wide into the wet. It doesn't help. But no, they'll be swinging these tails out all the time. And all the corners, you know, really letting the car use all the momentum, running it right out to the edge of the circuit. Really see the suspension working as the tyres just slide across the circuit. Don't quite get that same feeling in a set of Corsairs, but it's very close. I'm having this is a great, so far, great race. I mean, it always feels good to be overtaking many cars, making yourself look good, but really these cars are all in a different lower category, and the Lotus was really on a different level that year, but not on the same level as Sir Jackie, it turned out, in that Tyrrell. Certainly the Lotus were the car to beat, and Sir Jackie did it in a car perhaps that wasn't probably, I'd say probably second fastest. I think his teammate was fourth in the championship. Although I think that's our fellow teammate Fittipaldi up ahead, so we're definitely getting our way up to the front runners, and we are catching up. So I don't quite know what. I'm not going to know how close I'm going to be until we're past the start finish on our last lap. I think I've got a couple of laps left, so I need to really put in some solid qualifying laps. Riding wide like that into Woodcote isn't going to help, but it does give me a nice slingshot down the start finish straight. And so we are catching up to our teammate, and hopefully Sir Jackie does get stuck in a bit of lapped traffic. As we go past our teammate, who, like I said in the real race, had a clutch problem before it even begun, so he was left stranded on the start finish line. We've got a car off there as well. Again, conditions are not ideal, damp and cold. And also, hopefully my tyres last, because I go for the hard tyres because I know the softs wouldn't do 18 laps. Right, now we're coming up to some cars. I'm pretty sure these are the first cars I came across when I rejoined the circuit, so I can't be too far away now. I think it's probably the best I've taken that. Corner, actually. Club. Oh, again, Abby, I'm still dicing with death. That is gonna really annoy me if that ruins my race, because I keep telling myself I need to not do that.
Ronnie Peterson and Emerson Fittipaldi on the two JPSs. And just look at that crowd. They're using every inch of road, so is Ronnie Peterson and so is Danny Howland, but Revson was running wider, and this really is closing up now. Pocket handkerchief covering the lot. Now really concentrating on their pit signals, which tell them exactly what the position is. Jackie Stewart, a really great race here. And still the slight threat of rain under these low grey clouds has not materialized, which certainly is just as well.
Well, unfortunately, that isn't a great sight. There's not many cars in front of me, and I haven't got many laps left. So I'm really going to have to push for it now. Try and not make any more mistakes. I think some of that traffic really hasn't helped. But I am putting in consistent lap times to about sort of 1:29-ish. I'm not sure what the lap times they were doing for that race. Actually, I've just pulled one up. Oh, and it's Ronnie Peterson. He was doing faster laps. He was doing 1:17. So I'm quite off. I'm nearly 10 seconds off the pace. It doesn't seem if that was in the dry or if that was in the snow. I'm going to assume that was in the dry. Or qualifying perhaps, rather than the actual race. Yeah, I've just pulled up some times now, and I can see so 116s, 17s for the top 10. So that must have been in the dry. Still cold though, but definitely dry. Oh, as we get all sideways. That isn't going to help me. Oh, that's going to waste a lot of time, so I'm going to be stuck behind him. I think I'm just going to send it. Yeah. Okay, I can breathe now. I've got one more lap. I can't see a Tyrrell in sight, which means I'm probably not within the 10 seconds. And so it's certainly starting to clear up now. I think the track might be getting a little bit warmer. Definitely feel a little bit more grip. Oh, I think is that a Tyrrell? Or am I just seeing Tyrrells everywhere now? Oh, I didn't get the corner quite right. I've had to lift a little bit. I think at this point, apparently Peterson sort of gave up after a while, and that's why he was 10 seconds back, just sort of accepting second place. But we're not going to do that. Well, I don't really believe that he did, but I think Sir Jackie was just on a different level that day. Yeah, I think that there's a Tyrrell up ahead. I've got a hint of blue. Going on the snowy grass isn't going to help. This could be the 10. Oh, that's not going to help either. Saying that the grip's there when it isn't. Revving it out. Come on. I've got to be within 10 seconds, surely. Oh no, it was 11.6. I was 1.2 seconds off. Oh, I don't believe that. And there we have it for another video. I certainly enjoyed that one, and I hope you did too. And if you did, please remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more videos. Until then, catch you next time.